Hello everyone, welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark, and the final whistle's just gone at Twickenham, and what a game it was. 29-27, the final score to South Africa, and back-to-back rugby champions, South Africa. But there's lots to talk about from both games today. So I'm hoping there's going to be some people join me in the live chat, because this is an interesting one indeed. 29 points to 27 in the end. What a comeback from Argentina. And unlike last week when the South Africans started putting pressure on the Argentines, they didn't crumble today. They came back and they were very unlucky in this game for a couple of reasons, and I'll discuss that with the folks when people turn up. Few people turning up now. Welcome to the chat. Jasper, hello, welcome. Yes, I'm well, thank you. Hope you're well. Congratulations, back-to-back rugby champions. But lots to talk about, Jasper. Lots to talk about. Nowhere near as convincing as it was last weekend, and I'm sure all my South African friends will tell me otherwise, but we'll see. Regina, hi, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. I'm assuming you're tuning in from South Africa. Hey, Mark, Colin here. All good chatting with you. G'day, Colin. Welcome to the chat. What did you think of the games today? Did you watch both games, first of all? Just checking in on my audio, Jasper. Is my audio okay? Can you just let me know if the audio is okay? Not a pretty game, Jasper. It was a test match. That's why. It was a test match, a true test match. It wasn't a one-sided affair. Audio is perfect. Thank you for confirming that. I'll get some lights on too when the wife comes home. I'm just sitting in the dark a little bit. It is 10 o'clock in the morning, but it's not very light. Thanks, Brian, for letting me know. Audio is clear and I can read all your chats well. So we're good to go. What an interesting couple of games. Lots to talk about, I think, today. In terms of performances, were the All Blacks really that good? They did well in those conditions, terrible conditions in Perth. And just on that game, I'll just say that I thought both teams handled the conditions really well. There wasn't as many drop balls and stuff as I was expecting. It wasn't the best of games, but I think the conditions had a lot to do with that. And we didn't get all the rain and tornadoes and everything else that people were telling me were going to happen at Twickenham. It was windy, yeah, but it wasn't wet. Regina, it's now 5 p.m. in South Africa. Time for a Clippers and Coke then, Regina. What a championship year. Yes, Jasper, absolutely. Championship year, back-to-back for the Boks. Congratulations to everyone in South Africa. Lots to talk about, though. I won't spoil the party just yet, but I think there was a lot of good things to see in that last game. G'day, Craig. Welcome to the chat. Craig says, hi, Mark. Both teams played it like a final, tough, testy Boks, showing they can still do Route 1 well enough. Argentina are making progress, though, year on year. Well played, both teams. Yeah, I was very impressed by Argentina's comeback in this game, because it was a little bit of a similar situation to last weekend, wasn't it? The Springboks started off the second half very well. They got that momentum on, and one would have thought that, hang on, they're going to run away with it again, but they didn't. And Argentina stuck in there, and I really like that about this Argentina team. They take their opportunities and they never give up. So let's give credit where credit's due, eh? Tobago, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Haven't seen you before, Tobago. You must be a new one in our little hemisphere. Happy for the Boks, but not happy with the results, Tobago says. Okay, tell me why you're not happy with the result, Tobago. I'd like to know more. Hello, Brent. Welcome to the chat. Thanks, Mark. Well done for the Boks. Yes, congratulations to the Springboks, back-to-back champions. But were we all happy with that performance in the second half? Not as good as last week, of course. But can't play like that all the time. Hello, Marius. Welcome to the chat. Happy for the win, but this game was scrappy. Yeah, it was scrappy, but you've got to give credit where credit's due. Argentina hung in there. They did their role. They tried to disrupt the South African momentum, and they did that successfully. I thought that young chap that came on, Rapiti, in the scrum was very good. He's just 20 years old. That was his first cap. And when he came on, the Argentine scrum all of a sudden improved. So I was impressed with him. G'day, Gary. Welcome to the chat. Not the best end to a great tournament. All around the quality took a dip. Yeah, it was. I think both games. We probably can say that. But then there was a lot on the line, wasn't there, Gary? I think in terms of, I think both teams would have been feeling the pressure. The Springboks had to win, of course. And there's pressure there. And the All Blacks had to do the job in Perth, which they did. Hello, John. Good morning. Hope you're well. I am well. Thank you, John. Congrats to South Africa on winning the championship. Well deserved. Congrats to all teams and supporters that made a great championship. Yeah, well said, I think, John, in terms of it's been the most interesting rugby championship that I can remember. If you can remember one better or whatever, let me know. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a roller coaster, hasn't it? We've seen teams do well, not so well, come back from losses, back-to-back wins. It's been a very interesting rugby championship, and I still don't know whether it's really told us something significant at the end. Yes, South Africa won the championship, and yes, they look great in a couple of those games. But have we got a really clear picture? Let me know. I'd like to hear. Finale, welcome to the chat. Hi, Mark. It was a tough game and the Box tested well, but you can only play as well as you are allowed. Glad my Box won. Yes, that's right. And Argentina played their part in the game. Let's not underestimate the role they played. And they were quite unlucky, I thought. We'll talk about Kanan Moody in this chat today. I'm sure we will. Hello, Cameron. Welcome to the chat. What would have been only if the All Blacks beat the Pumas in Argentina? Yes, if only. Would have, could have, should have, didn't. Argentina were too good in Argentina. That's why. Could have been a lot of different changes to lots of results across the years in rugby, right? Rian, welcome to the chat. Box lucky they did not play in Argentina. Would have not have won then. Box were lucky. Okay. Interesting. I enjoyed the comeback from the Argentines. Gary B, is this the first time it's been decided by points difference? Can't remember a previous time that's happened. I can't remember either, Gary. Maybe you're correct. Let's know if somebody in the comments know if this is the first time the Rugby Championship has been decided on points differential. I don't know. I'd like to be a rugby encyclopedia, but I'm not. Hello, Jack Kinross. Welcome to the chat. Box deserved it. Superb TRC, but I agree the jury is still out on several teams. The Northern Tours are going to be really interesting. Yeah, Jack, I think the same thing. I think this has really set up the Northern Tours now because us Southern Hemisphere boys and girls are going to finally find out whether or not England, Ireland, and France are as good as what some people think and can take these teams down. So I think this has given us a bit of a mouth-watering entree to the Northern Tours. Cameron, we don't have a clear picture on where New Zealand's at the moment, but we have a clear picture of the Box. They're just getting stronger and stronger. Their scrum seems unstoppable. I do want to see them versus France. Yes. Yeah, no question about the Box scrum again today, dominant factor until Rapeti came on for the Argentines, and I think they found a little bit of a gold mine in that prop. He's fantastic, 20-year-old, first test. And as I said a few moments ago, I think the Argentine scrum improved enormously when Rapeti came on. Going to watch that guy's career. I think he's going to be really, really good for the Pumas. Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome to the chat. Elizabeth says, I think all players of all teams were a bit burnt out. Very strange game from the Aussies. Game was littered with issues. I thought Argentina played their socks off. Yes, they did. And maybe Argentina were very unlucky with a couple of referee decisions early on in that game. You can talk about that if you want. I'm happy to participate. Half court, welcome to the chat. What's the point of putting Love on the wing for 6 minutes? Yeah, I think I said that on Twitter as well. I put it at 4 minutes and something seconds. But yeah, why bring Ruben Love on with a handful of minutes to go? Just it's more of an embarrassment, isn't it, doing that to a player? It's just stupid. AI underdog pick. Oh, Mr. Mark up there in Mexico. Greetings, mate. Greetings to you as well. Getting a lot of rain here at the moment, Mexico. We're all flooded in. Des Organ, welcome to the chat. Des says Jan Henrik is not a prop. Yep, was a bit of a show and tell, that one, I think, Des. Tobago, Argentina gave a better performance. Well done to them. Cheslin Colby giving tries away like Father Christmas, which is frustrating. Still supporting my team. Yeah, I think Cheslin's had a couple of games in the last 2 games that he probably preferred to forget. I don't think I've seen Cheslin play like that since I've been watching him play for the Springboks, actually, to be honest. So a bit of a brain fade again today with that pass, which led to the Argentine try. But again, you've got to give credit to Argentina. They were there. They were aware of what was going on. They handled the ball. Dalgi did a good job to retain that ball. He could have easily have dropped that ball, but he got it and he went on to score the try. So credit where credit's due. Well picked off by Argentina on that occasion. Half court, thoughts on Tupaia, Geordie midfield combo and Leicester? I knew you were going to ask me that. So I've got my answer ready to go. Okay, so on the Tupaia and Geordie midfield combo, well, first of all, I'd say that Quinn Tupaia had a very good game. Probably best I've seen him play in the All Black jersey, 2 tries, and he looked creative, which gave me a sense of warmth because, as you know, I've been complaining about that. And I think Geordie played better today. Absolutely. He was good under the high ball, good in defence. He did 2 grubber kicks that I saw that were really good and gave a result to the All Blacks. So for now, I would say stick with Geordie Barrett and Tupaia. Give them a couple more games together and see whether or not there's consistency there, because that's what we've been lacking, in my opinion, from the All Black backline this year. So that's that one. And then Leicester Fainga'anuku, I think a good first game back. Nothing too outstanding. Had a couple of good solid runs, looked hungry for the ball. And if Caleb Clark's not going to come back, then I would stick with Leicester. But I'd like to see Leicester either come off the bench or maybe be involved in that 12 and 13 combo. But as I've been saying, Razor's never going to move Geordie Barrett back to fullback. So we're not going to see that happen. But that's my feedback. How about you? How did you see it half court? Hello, Sue. Welcome to the chat. Gosh, we never had a good game compared to last week. Something was off. We were lucky to win. Okay, Sue, so let's break it down. Great scrum performance from the Springboks. Good steals in the lineouts. Looked very good when they got some momentum going. But Argentina were the opposition and they don't go away. They took their chances. They came back into the game. South Africa were lucky not to have Moody given a yellow card for the second time and sent off. That would have made the game very interesting. It was a despicable call on behalf of the referee. There you go. I'm going to put it out there because that's how I saw it. And that could have changed the game. It didn't. And South Africa were very lucky in that particular situation, I thought. Now you can have a go at me. Go on. John, possibly our All Blacks need to follow Argentina way of attacking backline play. Yeah, John, we do, but we've got to have the players that can do it. Did you see Rico Ioane do anything today when he came on the field? Do you think Anton Leonard-Brown's got that capability anymore for the All Blacks? So where are the players that Razor's brought in that are going to do that, John? It's all very well to say we need to play like that, but have we got the players that can do it, and are we creating the opportunities, particularly from number 10? Okay, Des is sticking up for Moody. Moody was going forward and the defender had no chance to reach the ball. Des, I've seen that given a yellow card 9 times out of 10 in other games, so that's my position on it. I respect your position, of course, so thank you for sharing it. Elizabeth, yes, really pleased for Quinn. He's inventive, as you say, Mark. Yeah, he was in this game, and he did some good things in defence in the last game, so let's see whether Razor sticks with him now. Going to be interesting call when we head north on the Northern Tour. And as I say, these games today have probably whet our appetite for what's going to happen on the Northern Tour, in my opinion. John Tinley, definitely a yellow card, and as a second yellow, isn't that a red? Yes, he would have been off the field, John, and it would have changed the game completely at that stage for Argentina. So, yep. Sue, got you, Mark. I really do not understand how we can get so bad so soon. Look, Sue, I've been a lot of people say I've been ultra negative about the All Blacks lately, but I'm calling it as I see it. And there are some really good glimpses of this All Black team. The scrum was awesome today. I thought Taumati Williams played one of the best games I've seen him play in the black jersey, particularly in those conditions. Very hard for those guys. Cody Taylor played very well, and Fletcher Newell played well, I thought. There's a lot of good signs there for the All Blacks, but I just think Razor's continuing to miss the point with the back line, and that's costing us, in my opinion. Colin, okay, we're going to switch from games to games by the sound of it in the chat, so that's fine. Bring it on. Let's see what we can do. Colin Anderson says, Box made mistakes and the Pumas played really well. Yeah. Look, Colin, I think the Pumas made a lot of mistakes in that game as well. I think it was the pressure always tells in games. That's why it's a test match, right? So when both teams get put under pressure, they do silly things. We saw a couple of errors from Colby today. We saw a couple of stupid things from Montoya, the captain of Argentina, today. We also saw a couple of errors from Creamer today. So it was right across the field. There was a couple of errors, but that comes from the pressure that's associated with Test match rugby, and we shouldn't underestimate that. Half Court says, Moody was definitely a yellow card. Sevu Reece got a yellow card for exactly the same play. The ref whistle was in the South Africa the whole game. They got all the 50-50s. Okay. Cameron, the problem is the law is open to interpretation, but a yellow is a yellow. Yes, that's right. I saw a play also with, who was it? Jan-Henrik Wessels, no arms tackle in the last few minutes of the game, only given a penalty. Well, shouldn't that be a yellow card as well? But okay. Dare says the Wallabies won 33% of their games, and the Argentines could have won 2, and then Wallabies would have been 1 from 6. Yeah, but they didn't, Des. The results are the results. Lilipop, that's interesting handle. Welcome to the chat. Argentina played really well. Yeah, they did. They didn't capitulate like they did last weekend at Ellis Park. I thought they did. Kings Park, not Ellis Park. I thought they did really well to come back into that game. They stayed alive. They looked for opportunities. And when South Africa handed them a couple, they took it. So, I think good comeback for the Argentines, but South Africa should have put them away a lot earlier in that game, in my opinion. Louis Creel, welcome to the chat. I agree with Des. Okay, good on you. Some of us are going to agree and some of us are going to disagree. Paul Smith, welcome to the chat. Hello, Mark from the UK. Looking forward to seeing the All Blacks and Box touring the UK and France. I can't wait to see how some of the All Blacks talent in November. Yeah, I can't wait to see some new All Black talent in November. Yeah, Paul, I hope so as well. It's going to be a really interesting Northern tour up against the old foe over there, and we're going to really find out where this All Black team is at. Of course, against England last year, 16-15 in that first game. And we'll see how far Razor's team has progressed in the course of a year by the time we get up north. So it's going to be interesting. It's also going to be interesting to see how the Springboks go up north as well after that game. Hello, Temp. Welcome to the chat. You said Argentina defense outstanding. Nice Boca, awesome Rugby Championship. Yeah, that's a really good point. I thought the Argentine defense was superb at times in this game, particularly when the South Africans were camped down on close to their line, and they had a number of scrum penalty opportunities, which they put a lot of pressure on, and the Argentines held out as long as they could. We could have seen easily 2 or 3 more tries from the Springboks from those scrums, but they held on. So good point, Temp. Thanks for making that. Very good, outstanding defence. It kept them in the game, didn't it, really, their defence, the Argentines, I think, at times. To all the South Africans, I'd like to hear your view on Cobus Reinhardt today. There was a lot of you complaining last week about his performance. So how did you think he went today? 1 man of the match, scored a couple of tries. Kreisen, welcome to the chat. Argentina won the aerial battle. We're poor everywhere else. Box deserved winners, but we're poor everywhere else. I don't think they were poor everywhere else. I think they had their moments in this game. They were good at spontaneous open play. They took their opportunities to score their tries. Santiago Carreras' kicking continues to be a very good thing for them, although he hit the post with that critical one at the end, but he's been on point, and I've got to eat a bit of humble pie when it comes to Santiago Carreras. because I wasn't too much in favour of him at the beginning of the year, but I think he's had an outstanding Rugby Championship. Brilliant performance. Intel, bonjour, Mark. I'm a French supporter. I believe once the All Blacks get a playmaker at 10, it will help the backline. I agree with you absolutely with that. And I think that could be the difference of this All Black backline actually getting underway, and we need a number 10 that's a playmaker. Yeah, you saw it today with Priscantelli for Argentina. He's a playmaker. He got the Argentines on the front foot a lot of the time. We saw it missing in the Australia team as well again today with Tane Edmed. Had his moments, but he wasn't very good when it came to really setting that Australian backline alight. And then from Damien McKenzie today, all we saw was shuffling the ball on and getting the ball out. And really, it was Geordie Barrett that was deemed to be our playmaker today, getting the ball out wider. Louis Creel says Esgro was very good. Yeah, I really like Esgro. I think if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I talk him up a lot. He's big, he's strong, great try at the end, wasn't it? Carreras, a brilliant kick over. It was as good as what Sasha's was last week. Absolutely nailed his man. Esgro was well above Damien Willemse and scored a great try at the end. Well executed for Argentina. In Kilvan, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. I thought the Boks were poor compared to the last few games. Great to see Argentina fight back, and I was well impressed with them this year. Yeah, look, Ian, I think it was just a really hard test match, right? So there was no quarter given. You could tell by the amount of big hits that were going in, a couple of players going off with HIAs. There was no giving in this game. And I think when you have a game like that, it obviously disrupts the pattern from time to time. The Boks dominated the scrums, of course. They stole a couple of good line-out balls as well. But on some of those things that were just going in their favour last week with the bounce of the ball or the right kicks, they just weren't happening this week. So it looked a little bit different to watch, I think, from that perspective. That's my view on it. Mark Williams, hi, Mark. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the chat. You've got a great name, mate. You must be a fantastic guy. Tristan, welcome from Belgium. Tristan, something about this win doesn't quite feel satisfying. Don't get me wrong. Very grateful. We are once more the Rugby Championship champions. Yeah, Tristan, that's because Argentina played their role in the game. So when the opposition does things like they did, they deserve to be given credit, and I'll give them credit because they came back well. They stuck in the game. The Springboks had all the run in the beginning of the second half. Everybody probably thought they were going to run away with the game again, but Argentina stuck in there, and they showed right to the very end that they're just not a team that gives up. So that's probably why it looked different for you, Tristan, and feels different. Des says that he thinks Rassi should keep to different squads. Well, I think Rassi's going to, right? We've seen it. And I think we'll see it again in the Northern Tour as well. So I think this is one of the benefits of what Rassi does with the Springboks team. And that's why we've seen the variations throughout this Rugby Championship. It hasn't been that long ago that Andre Pollard turned things around for the Springboks, right? So, yeah, I think that will happen. Hello, Miles Taylor. Welcome to the chat. You say Geordie for number 10. Not in my book. No, I don't think he's a number 10. I think Geordie needs to be at fullback, in my opinion. And Razor just doesn't want to play Ruben Love at number 10. That's very obvious. Otherwise, he would have been given a go by now. Vlad the Inhaler. That's an interesting handle. You say, I thought the Aussies might finish the RC on a bit of a high, but they were disappointing today. A much improved team under Joe, but still lacking some depth. Okay, here's my take on Australia at the moment. I think that when we see Australia play against a less structured team like Argentina, they do very well because they're able to play that spontaneous play, and their defensive flaws don't get shown up so much. But when they come up against a South Africa, like we saw in Cape Town, and a New Zealand team, like we've seen in the last two games, who are very good structurally, I think that's where Australia is missing at the moment. They've also been decimated at number 10, and they haven't found the right playmaker there, and they've still got a lot of work in their defence to do. So I think those are the takeaways for Joe Schmidt that he probably already knows, and he'll be trying to improve those for the Northern Tour. I just hope that Australia gets a lot of their injured players back, because they've been running on fumes for the last few games, and I just want to see them have a consistently good team selected of players that they would have in their first lineup. I think that's where Australia's at. Let me know in the comments what you think. Mark Williams says, we made some unforced errors which Argentina took advantage of, but I think the Box went back to their grinding out play. Yeah, they did, Mark, but I think that was forced on by what Argentina was doing. I think, again, don't underestimate the impact Argentina had on the result of this game. They kept coming at the Box and kept putting them under some pressure. But I wouldn't be too disappointed. I think there were some great things in there. RG Schneemann again. Whoa, what an offload. Did you see that offload, everybody? It was brilliant. And Quagga Smith, Quagga came on and did his stuff. So, yeah, it was a tight test match. As somebody said earlier, it was a tough test match. It wasn't a roll away win like we saw last weekend at Kings Park. That's probably why you're seeing it different. Mutoid Law. Hi, Mark. I think rugby should give the Captain's Challenge another go. It works well in the NRL. Does it? Okay. Appreciate your perspective. Tristan says that Priskintelli is one for the future. Yeah, he's good, isn't he? I liked him. And now I can understand why the Argentines are telling me he's an exciting player. Plays at fullback too. And you could tell under the high ball he was very secure. The only thing I picked up on Priskintelli's play today was his timing's a little bit slow. He falls into that trap of telegraphing a little bit at what he's going to do. And I think he believes that he has more time with the ball than what he actually has. So I think once he improves that and starts playing at pace, he's going to be a very, very good number 10. Mark Williams, I think Argentina played a tight game, which forced us to tighten up our game. What a test. Yes, I think that's true, Mark. They did. Yeah, Argentina played a little bit smarter today. You see, they just weren't going crazy, stupid, wild, spontaneous play. They actually tried to set different phases up, and it was working from time to time. So I give them a lot of credit for that. King of Kingscock, you're back. Welcome. The difference between the All Blacks and Springboks is the Springboks win even when they play bad. The All Blacks look lost if they play bad and things don't work out. Okay. Yep. We've seen the All Blacks look terrible throughout this Rugby Championship, but what happened at Ellis Park against Australia, my friend? I had to say that. Mark Williams, do you think the Bok would have made a difference? Who's to know? I think Marnie's playing good rugby at the moment, though. When he is coming on, he is making a difference. But Sasha didn't have a bad game today. He did a couple of things that he'll probably regret, but he threw the ball out wide a little bit more today, which I thought was a good thing. He knew that he was being closely marked. Mafanga, welcome to the chat. ABs and Aussie were poor, though. Weather was no excuse. Okay. Have you ever played in the game with the rain consistently belting down like that and played your best rugby? Let me know. Come on, the weather made a difference. No doubt about it. It was still a scrappy game, but the weather had an impact on that, in my opinion. Chanda, welcome to the chat. Argentina played really well. Well done, Pumas. Great coaching, Felipe. Yes. Yeah, they're making progress, right? Remember where they've been ranked, and they're starting to move themselves up, and that's all that they're trying to do. And if I was in charge of this Argentine team and I still had 2 years to go before the Rugby World Cup, I would be a very happy man right now, because I think all the signs are there. And with this young prop coming on today and showing us what he's got, he's going to be good in 2 years' time. King of Kings, what happened in Wellington? You had that coming for reminding me about Ellis Park. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Rugby was the winner on both occasions, though, wasn't it? Yes. Mark Williams, probably the first time the Southern Hemisphere tournament has been this close. Yeah, no doubt about it, Mark. I think it was the first time it was this close. And as rugby fans, we've got to be excited about that, right? We're not going to see it next year, but it was a close competition. Rock Viper 62, welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. Pumas would be super good if they just had better props. Well, they're in the development stage, aren't they? So Machete is new, Rapeti is new. I think Vivas has grown in this championship from what I've seen. I think he's getting better. So, yeah, as I say, come the Rugby World Cup in 2 years' time, these Pumas, with that little bit more experience, they're going to be tough. The AI underdog pick says, have you ever kicked a straight conversion against a strong wind? No, I missed every conversion that I took because I wasn't a kicker. Jasper, I think Grant is amazing scrummy. He just need for experience. Yeah, I'm a huge Grant Williams fan, as you guys know and girls know. So, yeah, come Rugby World Cup, watch out for Grant Williams. I think he's going to be one of the standout players of the tournament. You heard it here first on Inside Rugby with Mark. Gavin McGrath, welcome to the chat. Sasha got a dose of reality today. He was trying those low percentage plays and they can't always come off. Rassi will get his ego in check. He'll be a great in a year or so. Pollard's still number one for now. Yeah, it's a learning curve, isn't it? Just like Priscantelli for the Argentines today. It's a learning curve for him, Gavin. I agree with you. Yep. But he's only going to get better. So that's the fear for all the teams out there, is he's only going to get better. King of Kings says that Sasha has had an okay game. People expect him to be magic every game. Not even Dan Carter was magic every game. Yep, fair comment. But I don't think everybody expects him to have a magic game every game. Those that know their rugby will understand that you just don't play like that every week. So fair comment, though. Toa Slade Larson, welcome to the chat. You think the All Blacks have found a 13 now? One swallow doesn't make a summer is my response to that. So let's see if Razor picks Geordie and Quintu Pyre at 12 and 13 again and gives them a couple of games. Then we can talk about consistency. That's what the All Blacks have been missing, in my opinion. So too early to say whether they've found a 13 now. They've tried somebody else there. It's worked on this occasion. And can it be a consistent option? You know, when you see guys like Choco Barris and Sinti playing game after game after game and doing well for Argentina, or Jesse Creel and Damien Diolandi or Damian Willemse are in there and they're doing it consistently, that's what we need from the All Blacks, in my opinion. Tristan, what was your favourite game this tournament from a neutral point of view? That's a really good question. Let me think. I'll come back to you, Tristan. I'll have a little bit of a think about that while we go through some other ones. Mark Williams, good game by number 13. Yes, if you're talking about Quintu Pyre, he had a good game, but also 13, Joseph Sua Ali played better this week than he did last week, so that was another good 13. And if you're talking about 13, Kanan Moody, I think he had a terrible game for the Springboks. And I think Prescado, 13 for Argentina, had a good game. Every time he got the ball, he looked dangerous, didn't just get enough of it. Jasper, Carter keeps impressing me. Glad Ruben had a start. Ruben didn't have a start. He got 4 minutes, my mate. Yeah, Carter, Leroy Carter, he's made the transition really well, hasn't he? He's come into this All Black team. He's taken the Bulls by the horn. If you checked out my Twitter before the game, I said that the All Blacks' first try scorer in this game was going to be Leroy Carter. I got one thing right. Come on, let's not take it too seriously, my friends. Dresziani, sorry, but your time is finished. 2 years under Razor, twice Rugby Championship lost, and the same issues continue. Well, from what I'm seeing around the rugby universe at the moment, there's two distinct sides. There's those that are saying Razor needs to be given more time and then he's going to come right by the Rugby World Cup. And there's others that are saying that he should be removed. So tell me what side you're on. Mark Williams, what did you think of McKenzie's play today? Okay, here's my assessment of Damien McKenzie without you all saying that I hate the guy. I think his role today was clear. It was to get the ball out to Geordie Barrett, who was going to be the playmaker for New Zealand. So all we saw all game from McKenzie was the shuffle pass out to Geordie Barrett. I saw 2 high kicks that Damien McKenzie put up that were non-contestable, that were eaten up by the Max Jorgensen, the fullback from Australia, and he got a good run on both of those balls. He missed 3 kicks that I can remember at goal today, Damien McKenzie, in tough conditions, so let's give him that. So I don't think he had a shocker of a game, but he definitely didn't ignite the backline alight. I think that was Geordie Barrett's role today. So that would be my take on Damien McKenzie. Let me know how you see it. Randomly factual, welcome to the chat. Well, this was a lot closer than we had thought. Well, it depends who you're asking. A lot of people thought it was going to be close. But yeah, it was a close game, and maybe with Kanan Moody's yellow card situation, there could have been even closer. That'll stir some hearts in the chat, I'm sure. Tristan, I'm still thinking about my favourite game of the championship. I'm still not decided yet. Toa Slade Larson, if Bodie's still injured, who's the next cap for 10? Yeah, good question. Who is it? We don't have one because Razor won't continue to experiment with a number 10. So maybe he's expecting somebody to materialise out of nowhere. But while South Africa's got Sasha Lebock and Andre Pollard, the All Blacks have got who? Vlad the Inhaler. With regard to the Northern Tour, it'll be interesting to see if the Southern Hemisphere teams will be tied or battle hardened. Look, I think they've got a little bit of time off now. I think they'll regroup, and I hope to see some fresh legs in there. That's what this Northern Tour should be about. If you've got some kind of idea on the development of your squad, again, we're 2 years out from the Rugby World Cup. If you're not going to give these guys a chance now, you're never going to give them a chance. That's my opinion. Hello, Sam. Welcome to the chat. Great game. Thought ref was poor at times. I assume you're talking about the All Blacks game, Sam? From what I read across the rugby universe, I think the ref has a poor game in every single game. I don't see anybody giving the ref plaudits in any game I watch lately. Tristan, I think either the Ellis Park game or the Wellington game, great attacking play in those games. Yeah, I'd probably give it the Wellington game, I think, for me, Tristan, because what the Box did in that second half was just outstanding, and particularly after coming back from a loss in Auckland at Eden Park. I think the pressure of Eden Park got to everybody, so we didn't see the best rugby there, but we saw the best rugby in Wellington in that second half. So I'd go with that one as well, Tristan. There you go. King of Kings. Grant Williams needs to have a foot race against Rico Ioane and Will Jordan and Leroy Carter and see if they can catch him. Hey, King of Kings, I think Grant Williams should have a foot race against Taimati Williams. He can move over 100 metres, my friend. Played well today, Taimati Williams. Very good performance. One of his best in a black jersey. Driss Ziani, sorry, but your time is finished. Schmidt will never work with Razor. No, he won't. There's some dark blood there that some people know about. Vinay, welcome to the chat. Wow, it was a great match in South Africa, back-to-back rugby champions. Okay, congratulations. Whether it was a great match, it was a tough test match. I think that's how we're summing it up. Rhinus Robertson, South Africa number 5 is busy but not physical enough, unfortunately. I thought he's played really well in this Rugby Championship. Ruan Nokia, I think he's done the job. He got some good line-out ball today. That's my opinion. That's how I see it. The finesse was there. Hello, Gavin again. AB's totally destroyed the Aussie plan of playing up front with tremendous quick distribution from rucks and set pieces. As I keep saying, Australia not where everyone thinks they are. I think they are, Gavin. I think they need to have their A-team on the field. I think they're missing some key players at the moment that bring that team together. And I'm not making excuses for them. I think your point is valid, Gavin. I think they did take away that quick speed. I saw James Slipper do some good things in the early part of that game to give Australia quick ball. Australia went to half-time with their lowest gap of the year, so they did well in that first half to keep the gap smaller. So, yeah, I'm just looking at both sides here and trying to weigh it up, but I think they're missing a lot of key players. Losing Will Skelton after 13 minutes of play to that HIA injury, that never helped their scrum at all, so they were never going to get back on the front foot with that one. Hello, Tobias. Welcome to the chat. Tobias says 7 penalties were awarded against the Argentine scrum, most of which resulted in points and were costly, a formation that shows no signs of improvement. Well done, Box, for second in a row. Tobias, I think if you're looking at the Argentine scrum, we're talking about evolution here, my friend. We've got Marchetti coming in. We've got Vivas that's still learning his trade. Rapetti came on and made a difference today. I think in 2 years' time, when we get to the Rugby World Cup, we're going to see a different Argentine scrum. So that's my take. This is part of the building phase, right? And it's good that Felipe is choosing these guys and giving them game time against the best in the world. Des Organ, Ruan is the new Franco Moster. Lud de Jager is best 5. Okay. Yeah, de Jager is good, of course. Best 4 is Eben and Lud. Yeah, Eben played well again today until he went off. He's got a lot of passion still for the game, isn't he? As the most capped Springbok rugby player of all time. I love his intensity, Eben. Sam, what a difference a week makes. South Africa did enough to win, however. Yeah, it's exactly what we keep saying about rugby, isn't it? A week makes a huge difference in our game. And we saw it again today. It wasn't the runaway train we saw last weekend. Cameron, why is New Zealand rugby so hard-headed not to let their internationals playing overseas play for the ABs? Cameron, do you think it really make a lot of difference to this team? I don't believe it would. That's my opinion. A couple of players maybe, but overall, no. AI underpick. Agreed, Mark. Aussie has some solid cattle. Unfortunate for scouts coming off early. Yep. And look at the other thing with Australia, right? You've got new guys coming in like Nasser and Robertson, and James Slipper has been a mentor to these guys. So he's been helping building these guys into this Australian team. Again, we're 2 years out from the Rugby World Cup. Joe Schmidt's done the right thing. He's had a massive squad to choose from. He's built depth in his squad. He's got players playing in the right position. And it's all starting to trend in the right situation. You don't want the Wallabies to be on fire at the moment. You want them to be on fire in the next 2 years. So I think once they get all their injured players back, they're able to put together a couple of 80-minute performances, you're going to see a different Australian team. Jasper, Tony Ball is the future. Jasper, the All Blacks have been playing Tony Ball for the last 50 years, my friend. you guys are catching up. I'm joking with you, but you can see why All Black fans used to get so excited when we played open, expansive rugby. You guys do it for a couple of games and you think the universe has changed. Come on, get on board, play Tony Ball. I've had a lack of sleep, guys. That's what it is. Cameron K, I really do believe it'll make a difference. There's no substitute for experience and we really need a world-class 10. McKenzie is not the best. Bowden is past his prime. Yeah. So nothing wrong with having McKenzie in the team. Have him coming off the bench to make a difference and have Bowden maybe coming off the bench. But where is the new 10? Where is the new 10? You go back to Richie Mo'unga and go through that whole circus again? Because then you're still going to be looking for a new 10. We need a young guy or two to come in my opinion. Mark Williams, do you think Scott has learned from this championship? I hope he has. But he also might double down and try and be resilient with what he's trying to do from his perspective. So let's see what happens in the Northern Tour. And as I said in my most recent video about Scott Robertson, I said, let's leave it until the end of the year, right? Because we've seen what we've seen against Argentina, Australia, and South Africa. And now let's see what we're like against the Northern teams, because they're going to feel they can come at the All Blacks this year and have a really good chance of knocking us off. So imagine if we lost to Ireland, England, and France. Imagine that. It's a possibility, right? With this All Black team, I feel. Des, we had 4 World Cups before Tony Ball. There you go. Well done, Des. Godzone. Tupaia outplayed Su'ali. Yes, he did today. And Su'ali still needs to improve his tackling. Too many no-arms tackles. Footy fan, welcome to the chat. How many fingers am I holding up? Good on you, mate. Maybe this is not the chat for you. Chanda, Joe Schmidt should be given more time to develop the Aussie team. He can build something special for 27 at home. Yeah, unfortunately, Chandler's contract finishes in July of next year, so Les Kiss will be taking over full time. But I think between now and then, there's still plenty of work that Joe can do. And of course, Les Kiss is working under Joe, so they've got a good transition there, unlike what the All Blacks had. And that's a good thing, isn't it? Because we've seen the Australian system now doing a good thing by transitioning with their coaches. So I don't think we're going to lose too much with Les Kiss coming in, although Joe Schmidt is a very good people person. And he's obviously built a very good culture in this Australian team, in my opinion. Mornay Lagrange, first time back-to-back champions. Big congrats to the Springboks. Now France and Ireland are looming large for the Springboks. Tough test, but I'll back the Boks to win these. Yep. Congratulations, of course, to all South Africans for the win, back-to-back. And yes, it's going to be juicy now on the Northern Tour, isn't it? Can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. Driss says, All Blacks lost high standards and the aura with low performance. Yeah, no question about it. I think that's gone some time ago. I think once Ireland beat us at home, I think the table started to turn. And we've seen the confidence come through from other teams now that they can beat the All Blacks. But don't forget, the All Blacks beat the Wallabies today 11 times in a row now. Still got to give the boys a pat on the back when they get the win. Godzone says, I reckon Australia will not be as good with Les Kiss. Well, we don't know yet, so let's see. Thanks for you sharing your opinion on it. Time will tell us. Toa Slade Larson, isn't it ironic the OBs used to produce 10s like mass production and now? Yeah. Well, we've got a couple of good 10s in New Zealand, my friend, but they just don't get the opportunity to play. So that maybe is another signal that's being sent out there. Jasper, all 4 teams stand a chance to lose against the Northern Hemisphere. Watch out. Yes, they do. Of course they do. This is how close rugby is at the moment. And let's go back again to the quarterfinals of the 2023 Rugby World Cup. A couple of points here and there. Mark Williams says, haha, crazy comment. I think the challenge for all sides will be managing their injured players, and the Rassi is possibly ahead with this endeavour. Yeah. Injured players and also being able to put together a team that can beat the opposition on the day, right? So I thought Contaponi did a really good thing today with his selections. He put 2 tall guys on the wings. So we saw Delgi on the wing and we saw Malia first of all, and then we saw Esgro. So rather than having Mateo Carreras on the wing, I thought that he did a really good job in terms of his team selection. So that's one of the other things that the coaches need to do well on the Northern Tour. Randomly factual. Mark, I know you rate Grant, but I think our best 9 and 27 will be Hashim Peed. Yeah, well, Hashim's very good, no doubt about it. But we haven't seen him in the Springbok jersey in test matches for the Springboks yet. I'm sure he's coming. Gavin says, Mark, it's great you have this chat from a Safa living in the US with 0 rugby friends and no bot party. I feel for you, Gavin. I'm the same here in Mexico, my friend. So we can keep this part of the world going, yeah, even if it's you and me having a chat about rugby. So I know how you feel, but let's help grow the game. That's what it's all about. So whether we're in the US or Mexico or this part of the world, let's be a catalyst of change and help to grow the game of rugby. Ali, question, since World Rugby is hell-bent on doing away with scrums, are we now a league sport? Well, I don't know about that. I saw some brilliant scrummaging from the Springboks today. It was very impressive. I think the World Rugby is hell-bent on making sure the scrums are right, and maybe too much so, but I don't think anybody in South Africa could argue over the scrummaging play in the game today. I thought it was outstanding. Randomly factual anyway, with me saying Malcolm Marx was the real man of the match. Yeah, he was in my book. I think not just the tries that he did today, Malcolm Marx, but I think the overall play that he did was fantastic. Yeah, I'd go with him. I'd give Malcolm Marx my vote today. Mornay Lagrange. So when does Joe Schmidt contract come to an end? I hope Les can do a good job. End of June. Joe Schmidt's going to finish up with the Wallabies next year, and it'll be Les Kiss going through. So unless Rugby Australia pulls a magic rabbit out of the hat, we're going to see Joe Schmidt end up in June, July next year. Eyes on Jesus Ministries, thanks again for your brilliant work. Thank you for being here. It wouldn't be as much fun without you fans coming in to chat. Tell me in the chat, what was your favourite game of the Rugby Championship this year? And tell me also, who do you think was the player of the championship? Give me your thoughts in the chat. Mark Williams, test matches are just a step more intense than club or other tournaments. They are, and I think you're talking about Hashim Peed. Thanks again for the brilliant work. Got the one. Jasper, Mark, I just want to say how proud I am of you, your channel, and all the awesome followers. You were my highlight during the Rugby Championship. Jasper, you and me are getting a bromance together, mate. You've got to stop it. My wife will get jealous. But no, seriously, thank you. I love doing this. I hope it shows in my work on my channel, but I love the rugby fans across the world. I think rugby's in a really interesting situation at the moment, trying to make a little bit of a difference to the game. So appreciate that you appreciate it. Miles Taylor, AB still haven't found a dominant 6. Boy, Kano has missed. Big, strong, and tackle. Good in line out with Reed. Also supporting locks a real weakness in forward stock. Yeah. I'd like to see Simon Parker at number 8. That's my pick, Miles, and put Satiti on the bench. But you're probably right. The Tupou Vai experiment, I think, is finished. But then we've got Josh Lord and Sam Dowry that are not getting a shoe in either. So are they going to go to the Northern Tour? We'll have to wait and see. Random factually, all right, people, I'm off. Nice to see you, Mark. My player of the championship will probably be Peter Steph Toy or Reinach. Okay, thank you, Random. Thanks for joining us today. Enjoy it. John Taha Kamara, Josh Jacob, and Cam Miller, Stanley Solomon are just fast up-tempo number 10s. I don't know if Razor's willing to set them for ABs, though. No, I don't think he is, John, and their chances are probably going to go on the All Blacks 15 tour under Jamie Joseph, and let's hope they get an opportunity. Mark Williams, we have the same opinion, Jasper. Appreciate the commentary. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you. Yes, Malcolm would be the championship winner. Yep, I think so. Malcolm Marks, what do you think of Scott Barrett tonight? Sam, Scott Barrett tonight, what I saw a couple of silly errors in there that he got given penalties away. I would like to see Josh Lord and Sam Dowry getting an opportunity. Start Patrick too. Piloto maybe, but it's not going to happen on Razor's watch. I keep saying it, right? What's going on with Frizzell? AI Underdog says. I don't know. What is happening with Frizzell? Des Organ says Oxen Chair or Wilco Low or Adi Savia for players of the tournament. Okay. Fair enough. There's someone else, there's someone I'd put out there for a player of the tournament that no one's going to pick because he's been on a losing team most of the time. But every time I've seen him put on a jersey for his country, he's played really, really well. And he's played in different positions. And his name is Max Jorgensen for Australia. I thought he had an outstanding rugby championship, scored some brilliant tries, and every time he touches the ball, he's a real threat. And I thought he did well for Australia. His kicking from fullback was good today. Perhaps not player of the tournament, but he was outstanding for Australia in a losing team. Sam 100% agrees with me, probably on Scott Barrett. Vlad the Inhaler says, my favourite game was the first game, All Blacks versus Box, though the second game was superb from Box point of view. Yeah, a lot of hype around the first game at Eden Park, of course, and whether or not the All Blacks were going to lose the streak to the Springboks. And lots of intensity in that game. It was also Artie's 100th game, of course, so lots of milestones in this Rugby Championship, which has been good for the game. We've seen Sio Khaleesi get up there to 98 caps now. We've seen Eben Etzebeth continue to grow his number of caps as the most capped South African rugby player. James Slipper, 151 and retired today. It's been a lot of good milestones in this Rugby Championship. Mark Williams, absolutely. Jorgensen, powerhouse. Yes, I believe he is. Mark Wainwright, well done All Blacks. You boys played really well. Great to have a double win. Pity Argentina lost. They came so close. Yep. The All Blacks played well at times. Yes, I would say that. At times. They looked like they were getting it together. But the consistency is just not there. Mornay Lagrange, the All Blacks are going to have a tough November tour. I think Ireland fancy their chances of beating the All Blacks. No disrespect to the All Blacks. No, I think you can say whatever you want here, Mornay, as long as it's respectful, and that's a respectful comment. Look, Ireland are going to be licking their lips with this game in Chicago, right? Like, no question about it. Vlad the Inhaler Cheslin, for me, was player of the tournament. Really? Cheslin Colby, player of the tournament. Did you watch the last two games, Vlad? Come on. Fraser McWright had a great... yes, Fraser McWright. There you go. There's my player of the tournament. Fraser McWright. Absolutely outstanding. The best number 7 in world rugby at the moment. Boy, that guy in the breakdown is an absolute killer. But Cheslin Colby? Come on, Vlad. You're having me on, Vlad. Come on, you're joking with me, right? Godzone, Ireland beat South Africa more than New Zealand. Yes, they do. That's factually correct. But will it be the case next time out? You're only as good as your last game, so let's see. Scotland to get their first win against New Zealand. Oh, that's a big call, Sam. I don't think so, mate. I think the All Blacks will be okay in that one. Maybe it'll be closer than we've ever seen. Stop with the jokes. Scotland versus the All Blacks. Paul Smith, I would ask the All Blacks. Whoops, I lost it, Paul. What happened? Oh, you took it away. You took your question away, Paul. I was just about to read it out. Here we go. I would ask the All Blacks not to give up on Andre Holland. For God's sake, Scott Robertson. Give Ruben Love a go at 10. Yes, give Ruben Love a go at 10. Fabian Holland. Is that what you mean, Paul? Fabian Holland? Vlad the Inhaler. Laughing out loud, apart from the old brain face. Got some great tries. Good comeback. Vlad, good comeback. I'll give you that. I still don't think he was the guy of the tournament, in my opinion. Okay, what else have we got? Fabian Holland. Holland is not Retallick. No, not yet. Give him time. He's only just started his career with the All Blacks. He's going to be brilliant. Watch him in the Rugby World Cup. Bala says, this Aussie team will be a pain in the... Yep, they will be. There's no question about it. The Aussie team will be a force to be reckoned with at home in Australia for the Rugby World Cup, with all their players fit and healthy. If they can get to that stage, they will be a force. And yes, the last time Ireland played the All Blacks in Chicago, they beat them. 100% correct comment. Mark Wainwright, has Scott Robertson, not Robinson, redeemed himself? Well, redeemed himself from what? I think we're all rugby fans with an opinion. We're not in a position to say whether or not Scott Robertson has redeemed himself. But again, one game, one swallow doesn't make a summer. So I've been saying in my last videos that let's see what happens with the All Blacks on the Northern Tour. Let's see the selections. Let's see the results. And then we can make a better assessment of the overall year of Scott Robertson. I think that's a fair thing to do, no? Jasper, his favourite player is Jasper Wiese. Of course it is, Jasper. You picked your namesake, my friend. No, he had a good tournament when he came back. Don't forget he didn't play the whole Rugby Championship this year because of suspension, but he had a great game against the All Blacks in Wellington, and that was the turning point, I think, for the Springboks. So maybe Jasper Wiese was the catalyst of change for the Springboks this year. John says Cam Roygaard for him was the player of the tournament. Okay, didn't play all that many games, but Sam says, to me, this New Zealand team is like a fighter that's been hit with a good shot and keeps fighting but looks shaky as hell. Yeah, great analogy, Sam. I like that. I'm going to borrow that, Sam. I'm going to use that in my video. I think that's a good one. Punch struck, I think we call it, right? Punch struck. Yeah, he looks like he's been walloped a couple of times by Alvarez Canelo over here in Mexico. Joachim, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you here. Do you think playing in London was an advantage for South Africa? Well, it didn't hurt their chances, did it? Playing in London, let's face it. 70,000 people turned up to watch South Africa, Argentina at Twickenham. That's a good crowd for a neutral game. Didn't hurt their chances. Yeah. Mark Williams picks Cam Roygaard as the man of the tournament. Okay. Salty Nuts, negative mark. Am I? Tell me why, Salty Nuts. Got an opinion? Tell me why. Mornay Lagrange, correct. If I'm wrong, are France playing the All Blacks in the November tour? No, France are playing the All Blacks in the November tour. Correct. Oscar, quiet. Come here, mate. Come here. Stop it. France play Springboks. Oh, they play Springboks, not the All Blacks. I thought France are playing the All Blacks. I'll check that afterwards. I thought they were. I reckon Ireland are licking their lips to play our box. Yeah, I think Ireland are licking their lips to play the box and New Zealand. Toa Slade Larson, we need somebody at 10 because Bodie no spring chicken anymore. Richie not back yet. And DMAC is only truly 10 left standing because Love played more at 15 and Perifetta is still injured. Yeah, we've got a lack of inventory at number 10. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Paul Smith, I would love to have the halfback pairing of Roygaard and Love for the All Blacks, no doubt. Yes, I would too. I'd like to see that. Just for a few games and let us see what it's like. ACDV, RSA were pathetic. Okay. ACDV, if you believe that, tell us what you thought of the Springbok scrum today. Pathetic, was it? Gavin, most impactful player, RG Schneemann, maybe the best lock in the world, PSD, TD overall, yep. Peter Steph-Toy overall, yep, that's a good call. Yeah, RG was, let's give RG the most impactful bench player this year because Angus Bell didn't play today against the All Blacks, and Angus Bell's my favourite player off the bench with RG Schneemann and Quagga Smith. Mark Williams, I realised today the All Blacks captain lacks inspirational leadership. Welcome to the party, Mark. You're a bit late on that one, mate. We've been saying it all year, a lot of us. Here we go. Okay, Salty Nuts. So negative mark. Very uncharacteristic of South Africa tonight to bring the changes on so late. Maybe Rassi trying to see how the starting 15 deal with pressure. A very lackluster performance from Box tonight. Salty Nuts, I don't know if you were here earlier in the chat, but it takes two teams to make a game, and the Argentines played their role, in my opinion, today. They put the Box under pressure at times. They took their opportunities to score tries when they did. So let's not always say that the Springboks are playing bad and the opposition's not having an impact on the game, because they did and they do. Call me negative for that. You can call me what you like. Mornay, I hear your dog barking. What type of dog do you have? I have a cavoodle. His name is Oscar. Mark Wainwright, seems like a bittersweet moment. We won, but we lost. Don't be too hard. It was a test match. Jasper, Ardie is All Black captain. No, I don't agree. And I'm probably the only one in New Zealand, but I don't agree as Ardie as captain. I think Ardie is built up by the media and a lot of his friends as a great leader. But I think strategically and tactically, Ardie has shown at times that he's not quite there. John says All Blacks play Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales. So no France game. My apologies for getting that wrong. And Ireland and England and Scotland and Wales will be rubbing their lips together. Big question mark from Gavin. How do France do this autumn? Only legit contenders to South Africa and New Zealand. Look, I say it all the time on my channel, right? On any given day, any team can beat one another in the top 10 of world rugby, and I'm going to stick to that. So if you want to use that as a benchmark, then we might see some upsets in the Northern Tour. We may not. And if we get through the autumn tour with the All Blacks and South Africa winning all their games, then we've got a definitive picture, haven't we, starting off next year? But I don't think that's going to happen. Sam's a fan of Irish rugby talk shows by the look of it. Okay. Yeah, I think France are going to be tough anytime. I think they've got the stock. Whether they come together on the day and they do the stuff, let's see. King of Kings, what would you rate the Springboks year if they sweep the Northern Hemisphere games? I think it would be Northern Hemisphere game mark. King of Kings, I think it'll be a very good year for the Boks if they win all their Northern games. They've won the Rugby Championship. They've won a game against the All Blacks in New Zealand. I think Russie would be very happy with that if they were able to do that. Des, cheers, Mark. Thank you. Thank you, Des. I'm assuming that's you leaving then. Gavin, I don't think France beating anyone is an upset. I agree. Totally. And we shouldn't look at it like that either. Vlad says, is the bomb squad a thing of the past? Russie seems to be doing it differently now, and it also works just as effectively. Look, I think the media and all the rugby fans created this whole aura of the bomb squad, didn't we? And let's face it, both teams have a set of bench players they can bring on. But I like what Russie's doing. He's reading the game. He's bringing players on when he needs to. And he's addressing problems on the field with players. Like you saw Quagga and RG come on today at specific times to do the things they did. And they both did it, which was interesting. So it's just continuous improvement. It doesn't matter if you're a coach. You never get the perfect situation. You've got to keep adapting, and that's what Russie's really good at. So let's keep enjoying it. Bali, Mark, do you think the impact will be on the Pumas and Aussies fixtures next year? What do you think the impact will be on the Pumas? Well, we've got the Nations Championship starting next year, Bala. So the Pumas and Aussies are going to be up against all the best teams in the world again. So no change. No change next year. If you don't know about the Nations Championship, go out and go and check my video on my channel about that. I made a video about it. Sam, France realistically are number 2 in the world right now. Well, let's see how they play, right? Let's see. They sent a development team down to New Zealand. They've got all the richness of that now. And now Fabien Gaultier needs to put that together and come up with his best 23 for the Northern Tour. So that's what's exciting, I think, for this French team for me, is that he's given these guys that experience of that tour to New Zealand, which I think was a brilliant thing to do. And now the French should have this richness of talent that they can roll out in the November games. So looking forward to it. Godzone, none of the French players have won in New Zealand or South Africa or World Cup, so haven't really achieved anything. Well, I disagree. I think the notion of what Gaultier did in terms of sending those younger players to New Zealand to get that experience, it wasn't about winning, and they gave the All Blacks a hard time anyway in most of those games. So I think France have got what they need to do to build their depth, and I think that's a good thing. You know, I keep saying it on my channel, it's not always about winning every game. It's about winning the big tournaments, yes, but it's not about winning every game. If you're able to experiment with your squad, build depth and opportunity, and then bring those in at the right time to make the big wins, that's what it's all about, in my opinion. Mark Williams, do you think Ireland not winning at the quarterfinals is their problem? Yeah, it's It's always a psychological problem. Every time the Wallabies roll out against the All Blacks, it's psychological that they haven't beaten the All Blacks for 11 times in a row. They haven't had the Bledisloe Cup since 1923 or whatever it is. So, yeah, psychology plays a huge part in sport, right? So it will be affecting the Irish team as well, I'm sure. But once they do it like they did against the All Blacks in New Zealand, right? Once they do it, they open up huge opportunities. Vlad says, France are beginning to look really good now. I think they will go well in November, also win the Six Nations next year, considering they have Ireland at home. Yep, they could well do, Vlad. Jasper, Ireland's in a bit of a bother. Their players are getting older as well with no new blood bleeding in. Yeah, I heard this recently from somebody who was talking about the coaching set up in Ireland and how they're not bleeding the new players in, a little bit like New Zealand. It could be a problem. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the chat. Nick thinks that France are properly ranked below the Box and All Blacks. Okay. Thank you, Nick, for sharing your opinion. Always appreciated here. Mark says the French want to win the World Cup. They do. So does Australia, South Africa, Ireland, Argentina. There's a whole host of countries that want to win the World Cup. John, analogy on French spot on will be very interesting to see them play. Yes. Yeah, the jury's out on France, right? Let's say it that way. We will only know. Well, there's a scary notion about the Box. The younger players coming through. Was watching De Villiers against the Ospreys yesterday. What a player. Yes, I watched that game. Very good game. What are the Stormers doing this year? Wow. Good game by De Villiers, but a lot of good players in that Stormers team are stepping up. Gavin, did you know technically Sasha Feinberg could play for England? He has a British father, Zulu mother. Under these crazy rules, technically he could spend 3 years in England and be eligible. I don't think there's any chance in this moon that he's going to be playing for England. Dress, Mark Talia can also play for the Springboks. No, he can't, Dress, because he would never get selected in the Springboks team. There you go. There's my take on it. Mark Talia is not good enough to make the Springboks squad. That's my opinion. We're not even seeing Mapimpi anymore. Like, come on, this guy's a phenomenal winger. Ardense, Edward van der Merwe. Come on. Mark Talia wouldn't even get an eye in. Hello, Derek. Welcome to the chat. Do New Zealand and Australia need to scrap Super Rugby Enjoy Championship? What is your take on it? Look, there's a lot of chat about the Super Rugby competition. If you watch any of the games, you'll see good rugby being played. It's just different type of rugby, right? And where's it lacking in our performances? Like Australia and New Zealand are doing just as good in this competition. It's coming down to injuries. It's coming down to selections by Scott Robertson. The players are there. I keep saying it. The players are there. They're not getting their opportunity. So for me personally, Derek, I don't think Super Rugby is the issue. A lot of people do. That's fine. I respect everybody's opinion. King of Kings, don't do Mark Talia like that. And Ardense is injured, so he'll be back. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, Mark Talia wouldn't get a foot into any of the Springbok teams. The French want to win the World Cup. Yes, they do. Okay, what else are we thinking? We're running out of ideas. If you're watching the chat today, thank you very much for coming along. My name's Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living in Cancun. Are you sick of hearing that? But I'm starting this wonderful movement called United Rugby Fans, URF. And on Monday, I'm going to be announcing our chapter lead for South Africa. So South Africa is going to be our first chapter in the world for United Rugby Fans. We start on Monday. I'm going to be announcing the person who's going to be running the organisation in South Africa. So if you're from South Africa today, you're on the chat and you want to help us out with United Rugby fans in all sorts of ways, then get in touch with him next week. His email will be available on Monday online, and I'll introduce you all to him in a video, and let's go for it. Let's change the game of rugby across the world and support all the different nations in growing our beautiful game. That was my sponsored message for today's chat. The AI pick. Mark can go and play for Samoa too. Okay, everybody wants Mark Talia to go and play for someone else. Well, I think giving the same importance to NPC as Super Rugby, that would be the best thing for NR. There's a lot of good players in NPC I'm watching this year. Yep. Derek, okay, agree with you on the eligibility rules for New Zealand. South Africa benefit from selecting players to play abroad. Yeah, Derek, it's a two-edged sword, that one. Look, you've got some good players that play outside of New Zealand, but would they make the All Black team at the moment? And would they really make the difference that some people think they would make? And does it send the right message to those players that are trying to create a pathway from NPC up into the All Black team? So all these things need to be taken into consideration. Have they got it right at the moment? It's hard to say, right? You've got strong arguments on both sides. Gavin was joking about Sasha, but this foreign player issue is crazy. Would love to see you do a podcast with an expert guest sometime. Okay, Gavin, tell me who the expert guest you would like me to have on the show. Problem is, Gavin, when I reach out to people, they don't respond to me. So I'm a very small rugby podcaster in the world, so I guess nobody wants to be on my show. I've actually reached out to Razor Robertson to have him on my show because I talk about him a lot. I thought I'd give him an opportunity to come on the show, but that's not going to happen, of course. Hello, Eric. Welcome to the show. Congrats. Russie is still winning while creating new team and bringing youngsters through. Yes, absolutely, Eric. Congratulations to all South Africans today. Back-to-back Rugby Championship winners. That's what it's all about, creating a new team, bringing youngsters through, Eric. Fantastic stuff. Well done, South Africa. Couldn't agree more. Sam asks the question, how do we change our must-win mentality? Does it start here? No, I don't think it does, Sam. I think we're going to see the same things from Razor on the Northern Tour. The culture has been created, and I don't think it's going to change. Mark Wainwright says, Mark, what's next for the All Blacks? Who and where do they play and when? They go to the Northern Tour. I think there's a game with Japan on the way. I'm going to see them up against Ireland, England, Wales, and Scotland. So how many of those games are they going to win? Mark Wainwright, tell me in the comments. Do you see the All Blacks losing any of those games? Godzone. I'm not convinced about Lester Fainganuku, the way people were talking about him. I expected more. Okay, Godzone. It was a very, very nasty weather conditions. He did a couple of good things that I saw. He wasn't outstandingly brilliant. But for his first game back, don't forget, coming back into the squad and not only getting through the training week, but getting out there and playing the first game again. Got to give these guys a little bit of time, right? At least one game. Driss says Leicester better in 13, Caleb 11. Yes, that's the way I'd put it. Leicester in 13, Caleb at 11. Or Leicester at 12, Leroy Carter 13, Caleb 11, Will Jordan 14, and Geordie Barrett at fullback. There you go. That's the All Blacks' solution to their problems, my friends. Mark Wainwright. Mark, they're going to eat them for all breakfast. Okay, I'm assuming you're saying All Blacks are going to win all those games. Okay. You make sure you're on the last chat of the year, Mark, when I do my wrap-up, my friend. Let's see how it's all gone, whether you're right. Ziyad, welcome to the chat. All Blacks just need to string a few more wins and they'll win over the hurt of the frustrated fans. Just need to be consistently winning. Yeah, they might get a few more fans, Julius, from winning consistently. But it's also about the things that are going on in the games. I think, I've been critical because of selections and not giving that opportunity for depth growth. So it's not just about winning consistently. It's about how you're developing the team, evolving the team. The team we saw play tonight in Perth, how much improved was that team versus what we saw against England in Dunedin at the Forsyth Bar Stadium at the beginning of last year's campaign? Can you really tell me there's been a huge difference in the All Blacks' performance? That's what we're looking for, from my opinion. Sam, 5 a.m. bed for me. Thanks for the chat, brother. Have a good one. Same to you, Sam. Thanks, mate. Good to have you here. Eric, Mark, congrats to the All Blacks for coming second. Box owned the silver, man, 6 times in the past. Yes. Yeah, it's becoming a repetitious thing for us, Sam. Sorry, Eric. Got your names mixed up. You're right, Eric. And congratulations. Springboks deserve it. No issue from me. John thinks that Leicester had a good game and he would like to see him at centre. So there we go. Different opinions on Leicester Fainganuku's turnout for the All Blacks today. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And what did you think of Joseph Suwa Ali today for the Wallabies? Pumas were robbed. How did South Africa not get carded for those knock-ons going for intercepts? Yes, that was a very contentious issue in the game, no doubt about it. I saw it as a yellow. It's been given on many occasions in other games, but not today. There we go. King of Kings. The All Blacks had that insane run of dominance. It's time for the Springboks to have such a run for a bit. Yes, no problem with the team having a little bit of dominance at all. Let's see if they can keep it going. That's what the journey is all about now, is consistency for the Boks to keep winning at that top level. They won today, 2 points. Tight game. So here's a question I'll throw out to the chat. Let me know what you think. Who's going to lose their next game first? Is it going to be the Springboks or the All Blacks? Who's likely to lose first out of the Springboks and All Blacks on the Northern Tour? Let me know. Driss, I don't think that's appropriate, my friend. Gavin, maybe we can find someone with legal knowledge of eligibility laws. I think on that. I have a lot of social media exposure experience. Would love to help your organisation. What are your first year goals? Gavin, great. Thanks for reaching out. Drop me an email, mate, and I'll share a lot of information with you. Social media is definitely an area we need help. Appreciate it. Mark at urfans.org. Gavin, that's my email address. If you haven't seen it already. Godzone says South Africa will lose first. Of course you say that, Godzone. John says expect to see more combination changes through the Northern Tour. Okay. Mark Williams, Leroy Carter, solid player. Yes, Leroy Carter is a solid player. Paul Smith, who are they playing next? The All Blacks against Ireland in Chicago. And the Springboks will play, I don't know who the Springboks play first up. Hold your horses, Paul. I'll find out for you and let you know who the Springboks play first on the Northern Tour. Could be Japan, I think. They're going to Japan first. Let me know in the chat if you know who the Springboks are playing first up on the Northern Tour. Mark, you think the Boks must go ahead with or without Pollard? That's a really good question. I think Andre Pollard still has a lot to offer, Eric, South African rugby. And I think what Russie's doing is he's transitioning these players out, right? So we're seeing Willie LaRue kind of taking on a more of a mentor role. And I think we'll see the same thing over time with Andre Pollard. But for now, I think Andre needs to be still in there. So not just yet. Not just yet. So we think it's Japan. So we think the first game is going to be South Africa against Japan, and the All Blacks are going to play Ireland in Chicago again, where they lost previously. Godzone should try Tupaia and Leicester or Tupaia and Tamoshi. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Jimmy the difference again this year, are we? I think he's out with that arm. But yeah, Leicester and Tupaia, 12 and 13. That could make a good lot of sense, but Razor's not going to move Geordie Barrett, I can tell you now. He's not. Yep. I think Geordie Barrett is about as deeply rooted into the number 12 shirt of the New Zealand All Blacks as Jeff Wilson is to the breakdown show in New Zealand. Not going to be taken out. Vlad the Inhaler. Club rugby is thriving right now in Europe with SA teams now involved there. Has New Zealand Australia rugby suffered as a result? I don't think so. I think New Zealand NPC competition is very good, Vlad. Some really good players coming through there. As I've already mentioned in the chat, the issue is giving those guys a chance to go on and play either Super Rugby or for the All Blacks. Derek, hope to see some inform NPC players getting the tick. Yeah, me too, Derek. We're all hanging out for that. Oh, sorry, John, you're right. Australia's going to Japan first. Yes, that's right. Australia's going to Japan, so it's going to be Eddie Jones against the Wallabies again. Fantastic. Springboks play Ireland next. Okay. He won't move Jordan either, and Carter looks cemented. Yes. I think you're right. I think you're right. Godzone, everything revolves around the Barrett selections, gameplay. That's part of the problem. Yes, I agree. Too much reliance on the Barretts. I'm starting to see it. I never saw it before, but I'm starting to see it. Love it, 10. Yes, I agree. Caleb, 11. Tupaia, 12. Leicester, 13. Jordan, 14. And Jordan, yes. Driss, that's it. That's exactly what I'd like to see. You nailed it. Cam Roygard and Ruben Lovett, 9 and 10. I think that would be a great step forward. Mick Dizzle, the great. South Africa need a lot of work, but I can see them coming into their final form just in time for the World Cup. Yeah, I think all teams need work. I think South Africa's on the right path, though, aren't they? You can't complain after winning back-to-back rugby championships. Julius, feel the All Blacks suffer from upholding their legacy and win rate. Think All Black coaches took afraid to test too much if it means losing rather than go and try it and test it. Yeah, they do exactly. That's exactly the point. I agree with you. Too much focused on winning. And here's the other thing that's deeply rooted in New Zealand psychology of rugby fans. They think that when you change the team, you're automatically going to lose. And this is just so far from the truth. When you give new players an opportunity, either they step up or they don't. Over the last couple of years, we've seen Wallace Satiti, we've seen Fabian Holland, we've seen Leroy Carter. They've been given their opportunity, they take their opportunity. So why not give these other guys opportunities and see whether or not they can do it? That's been my gripe all along. Mornay Lagrange says the Springboks are playing Japan first, so it's the Rassi versus Eddie Jones. That's going to be mouth-watering. The only thing I could think of being more mouth-watering that would be Rassi playing against a Matt Williams team. How many young guns has Rassi given chance to rack up tests for 2027 World Cup? Yes. Yeah. Razor must bring in more younger players, start preparing them. Yep. Gavin says the Islands dream schedule, All Blacks and then the box. Yeah. Well, at least one game's been played in Chicago, Gavin, so good track record there. Ireland beat the All Blacks every time they play in Chicago. Is that a fact or not? Hello, Nolan. Welcome to the chat. I haven't seen you before. You might have been here, but I must have missed you. Mark, we are the champions, but I have to say the Springboks got me worried for a moment. Or the Pumas got you worried. Eh? The Pumas came back, Nolan. Derek, on Razor's coaching team, any additions you'd like to see? Yeah, I'd like to see a whole new coaching team. Bring Joe Schmidt in. Joe Schmidt with Jamie Joseph. That would be the dream team for the New Zealand All Blacks, wouldn't it? Derek, to answer your question seriously, we need some work in the backs. There's no doubt about it. Our offensive attacking play is still nowhere. And it all revolves around that number 10 choice that we're doing, I think. That's my answer. Toas Slade Larson, also Peter Lakai against France last year and Christian Leo Willie against France this year. Yeah, what happened to Christian Leo Willie? He's gone out of favour quickly, hasn't he? Peter Lakai again today. Was he brilliant for the All Blacks? Let me know in the chat if you saw the game. Bring Tony Brown back, please. Yes. Joe Schmidt, Tony Brown and Jamie Joseph. How about that for an All Black coaching setup? Driss says, I prefer Lakai than Satiti, powerful impact missing. Yeah, I think Satiti off the bench because Satiti's got that mobility and that ability to get around the field faster. So against the tiring opposition, he should be better, I think. I'd still like to see Simon Parker at number 8, though. So put Peter Lakai in the 6th jersey. Tony Brown, yeah. Boy, what a wasted opportunity that was. And Joe Schmidt, wasted opportunity. Okay, just a few more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Then we'll call it a day. Going to put all my thoughts together for 2 big videos coming out on the Springboks performance today and the All Blacks as well. So watch out for those in the coming days. Watch out for the United Rugby Fans launch on Monday. Please come on board and help us out with this project. It's going to be really exciting. We've got some big things planned in South Africa. We're hoping to host the first global United Rugby Fans conference in South Africa next year, where all the fans of World Rugby will be invited to come. Huge changes we want to make. Mornay Lagrange, the All Blacks must get another Tony Brown in South Africa. I'm not willing to give Tony Brown up. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't be letting him out of the country at the moment, Mornay. Nolan, the game makers make me realise that our Springbok can be beaten on any day by any Tier 1 nation. This was a humbling experience. Good, Nolan, because we've been saying it all along, right? And any of these top teams can beat each other on their given day, and that's what should make it exciting. Now, look at where we've been in the last few weeks, right? We saw the All Blacks winning at Eden Park, and everybody was saying, oh, wow, there's problems in South Africa, and oh, Russie needs to change. And then we saw that brilliant performance a week later in Wellington, and oh, Russie's the best coach in the world again, and we all love him. And then, oh, we thrashed Argentina last week, and then we're humbled again today. So this is what makes it exciting, right? This is what makes it great at the top of World Rugby at the moment. Let's embrace it. Let's love it. We don't want a team that's so far ahead of the rest we can't catch them. Elizabeth, love it. Joe Schmidt, Tony Brown and Jamie Joseph. Think that would be a winning formula. Me too, Elizabeth. Be fantastic. Joe Schmidt wants to go home and live in New Zealand. That's been very clearly stated. Will New Zealand ever pick a non-New Zealand coach or assistant? I doubt it, Derek. I can't see it happening in my lifetime, but Valentino Reddy, welcome to the chat. Good evening. How were the games today? I know the results, however, I didn't see or hear any commentary of them. So how were the games, Mark? Well, depends who you ask, Valentino, because if you ask some of the fellow people in the chat here, you're going to get different variations on it. But look, my take on it was in very difficult conditions in Perth. We had an All Black team showing a little bit more control, less errors. The forwards went better today against the Wallabies. The Wallabies lost Will Skelton after 13 minutes. They also had 2 yellow cards during the game, so they were down to 14 men. The All Blacks ran in a couple of good tries to Quintu Paia. So they probably deserve to win that one. Too many errors from the Wallabies and a little bit of a lackluster affair in general. And then at Twickenham, we saw the Springboks being dominant through the middle kind of 30, 40 minutes of the game. And then the Argentines coming back at the end to a close finish. Some controversy, Valentino, around the yellow card for Kane Moody. And great performances from Malcolm Marx, Kobus Ranach, and RG Schneeman's offload for a brilliant try to South Africa was a highlight for me. There we go. I hope that helps you, Valentino. Sakabula, welcome to the chat. Difficult to play total rugby 3 games in a row. It wasn't pretty, but a win-win. I think any of the top 4 teams can beat each other on the day. Fantastic, Sakabula. I agree. So here's the problem. The problem is the fans. We expect, right? Back-to-back wins all the time against the top teams. Not going to happen. Ruan, welcome to the chat. Hi, Mark. It's a good thing there's no championship next year. I'm tired of seeing the Wallabies get flopped every year, and they might as well give New Zealand the trophy without even playing. Come on, Ruan. There's been good improvement in this Wallaby team. As I said earlier in the chat, if you weren't here, Joe Schmidt's been incredibly affected by injuries in this team. I'm not trying to make excuses. They've got a lot to learn, the Wallabies, in defensive line. But today they were down at half-time by the least number of points they've had been throughout the Rugby Championship. They lost Will Skelton after 13 minutes of play. Huge loss in the scrums. And, they're missing guys like Tate McDermott, Tom Wright at fullback. Dylan Peach on the wing was brilliant for them, wasn't he? Tate McDermott, halfback, was brilliant for them. Nick White's retired. So, Australia's got some challenges. Intel, Moody was lucky today. Moody was the luckiest guy at Twickenham today. I agree with you. Yes, he should have been sent off again. Sakabula, box prop, was the man of the match. Very dominant they were until Rapinte came on for Argentines. The young 20-year-old had a standout performance. I like that guy a lot. Robert, welcome to the chat. I'm with you. We need to unite to stop Rugby 365. Rugby 360, isn't it? Yeah, who's going to go and watch a rugby game in Boston? Who's going to go and watch a rugby game in the Middle East, UAE? Who's going to go and watch these games? Like, are they rugby fans there? Do they understand the game? I'm not sure. Valentino, beautiful summary, Mark. Not even BBC Rugby Union News gave feedback. Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Valentino. Terry H, welcome to the chat. I think it's a great result. Springboks got the win. Argentina got a hard fight back and can truly be proud of their performance. Yes. Good summary, Terry H. Thank you for making that. Mark Williams says, I'm afraid if New Zealand coach does take more chances, he may not be there for much longer, and that has been made clear through selection of Jamie Joseph. Interesting how things come back to haunt you. Yes. Karma can be a bitch, they say. Hasn't been a lot of breakdancing this year, has there? Not a fan of that anyway. You're welcome, Valentino. Gons, welcome to the chat. Nice to see you here. Thank you for coming along. Mark, what is your opinion of Los Pumas throughout the championship? Did they play better than the Australians or not? Gons, here's my opinion of Pumas. I think they're heading in the right direction. And I think Felipe is doing some good things from the coaching point of view. He's reading the games very well. I liked his selection today with Delgi, Esgro, and Malia on the wing. It gave more height for the high ball, and that worked out very well in this game, rather than having Mateo Carreras on the wing. I like the young forwards that are starting to come into the team. So Marchetti is good. We saw Rapinti today as well. He was very good for the time he was on the field. So I think Argentina are building very nicely. We're 2 years out from the Rugby World Cup. We've got Thomas Albanos to come back in. Presciantali was good today, I thought, both covering at fullback and also at number 10. Santiago Carreras had a standout rugby championship this year. There's a lot of good things to say about this Argentine team. Australia, also some good things. Fraser McWright, best number 7 in world rugby at the moment. Really, really good. And once they get all their injured players back, this will be a different Australian team. We'll start to see more of what we saw at Ellis Park and so on. Mark Wainwright, Mark, you need to get some sleep. Still early evening here in Cape Town. Yes. Hey, I'll get some sleep. Don't worry. Thank you for thinking of me, Mark. My voice will probably go before I fall asleep. Ruan, are you confident in New Zealand All Blacks on the end of the year tour? How many games will they win? Who will they lose? And who will they win? Ruan, you're putting me on the spot. I can see the All Blacks losing some games plural, but I can also see them possibly winning all their games. So I'm not confident at all. I haven't been confident in this All Black team all year, as you probably heard me on my channel. But let's see. A lot of it's going to come down to the selections again that Razor does. Does he put new guys in there? I would say we've got better chances if we put some new guys in there. That's how I'm feeling about this All Black team. Sakabula Crema was brilliant. Big engine on him. Yes, he was good, but we've seen better loose forwards in this competition, if that was the question. DN better than PSDT. Look, no doubt about it, Peter Steph Toy was brilliant in this Rugby Championship, but I'm looking at the number of turnovers I saw from Fraser McWright at pivotal moments in games for Australia throughout this Rugby Championship. He did it again today until he went off injured. I hope he's not too badly injured. So, Peter Steph Toy, of course, a giant, but I've just really enjoyed watching Fraser McWright's growth into one of, if not, let's use that terminology best. But yeah, you would never leave out Peter Steph Toy, of course. Jamie Joseph comes soon. Yes, maybe he does. Mornay Lagrange, so what do you think of the Springboks clash with France? They're really talking about revenge. Yeah, they talk about revenge. Yeah, it's going to be another one of those games that we get really hyped up about, Mornay, isn't it? It's going to be an exciting build-up to the game. It's going to be an exciting game. Either team on the day can win. Gary B, the breakdancing was rough to watch. Might have been part of the contract he signed. Sure, he's itching to go for a dance off with the Russie. Yeah, it's a good one. It's been put in the locker room, the breakdancing. Vlad the Inhaler, who would get All Black gig if they got rid of Razor? Not that I think they will happen soon, barring a disaster. Razor's not going anywhere, let's face it. He's going to be there through the Rugby World Cup. And Jamie Joseph's appointment is maybe a transitional appointment for New Zealand Rugby. So Razor's there. Ruan, before you go to bed, can we get a shout out to James Slipper, 151 tests? That's an amazing achievement. Yes, Ruan, I already did that a couple of times, but I'll do it again. 151 tests for James Slipper. He played really well today. I thought there was a couple of times he went in and did great clean-out ball to keep Australia's momentum going in some of those multi-phases of play. He started his career in Perth. He finished his career in Perth. He's been an outstanding ambassador. He's also mentored these young props that are coming through for Australia, the likes of Nasser and Zane Nongor. So James Slipper, fantastic. Big hats off to James Slipper. He's going to be missed in the Aussie team, as Sakabula has suggested in the comments. There you go, Ruan. Did I do it well enough, my friend? Tell me. Okay, final thoughts before I put a cap on it, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. It's been really good. I love reading all your comments, learning from you, hearing your perspectives, as I do on all of my videos. Watch out for my next videos. I'll give you a more detailed take on these two games. Tell you what I think Russie needs to do, as well as Razor. Yep. Lots of good stuff on James Slipper. Great achievement, everybody's saying. Yep. Can't wait to see Sia Kolisi get 100 caps for the box. That's going to be another milestone we can all celebrate as rugby fans across the world. Ruan, I'm watching you from South Africa. Love the channel. Thank you, Ruan. I appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Okay, everyone, I might call it a night. Thank you very much for your support. And I'll be back again really soon with some more from Inside Rugby with Mark and also from United Rugby fans. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your rugby. Good luck in all the competitions you're watching. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.